Caffeine is linked to higher production of cortisol. I'm very sure I've explained how cortisol affects what? Metabolism. So we need to cut on that, on caffeine. So another thing, we also have the processed foods. The processed foods that contain additives, they contain preservatives. So at the end of the day, those preservatives and additives, they are going to do what? To affect the hormone production. And finally, the same things to do with alcohol. Yeah, alcohol, we need to do it in moderation. If you drink alcohol, just do it in moderation.
Hello and welcome back to Your Health Kenya with Nutrition, where we discuss everything matters health. And I hope you've been enjoying this series that we've been doing on reproductive health, just talking about different conditions that women go through, as well as just getting to understand some of these, reproductive health conditions from a medical expert directory. So I really do hope that you've been enjoying these episodes. And today, we have a clinical nutritionist who is going to take us through a conversation in regards to hormonal imbalances and nutrition. And so, ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Mora. I'll let you introduce yourself. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much. My name is Judith Mora, and I'm a clinical nutritionist. Currently, I do a nutrition consultancy at Demo Prime Health and Nutrition. And as well, I'm a lecturer at Cape's Technical College, whereby I teach nutrition for diploma and certificate students.
Yeah.
Thank you, Trisha, for having me today.
Karibu sana, karibu sana. So, so as I mentioned to you, we've been going through this reproductive health series, just talking about different medical conditions in regards to reproductive health that women go through, from endo, PCOS, fibroids, all those conditions.
Yeah.
And so there's been that question that a lot of people ask: is hormonal imbalance linked to nutrition?
Yes, when you look at hormone imbalance, for us to produce some of the hormones in our bodies, it requires some specific nutrients. So without them, it means that those hormones, we cannot do what? Produce them. So if someone is having, let's say, a deficiency of that nutrient, it means that you cannot be able to do what? Produce that hormone.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so when it comes to reproductive health, and particularly women,
yes.
How is nutrition linked to hormonal imbalance? Because now for women, we're talking of estrogen, progesterone. So how is that linked?
Yes, so when you look at nutrition, we take nutrients into our bodies and we metabolize them. For us to metabolize those particular nutrients, we require some specific hormones. For example, the thyroid gland is able to produce what we call the T4 and the T3 hormones, which help in metabolism. And in turn, when you look at the estrogen and the progesterone, which are mostly regarded to menstruation as well as pregnancy, so you find that if a specific nutrient is absent, and this nutrient, it can be because of a particular hormone is not working so well, especially the metabolism hormones. So maybe in turn resulting to low production of what? Estrogen and progesterone.
Okay. So are there any specific foods that women need to take in order to balance their hormones?
Yes, we have specific foods. For instance, if you take a food that is high in fiber, high in fiber foods, they help us to regulate the blood sugars. They help us to, we have a hormone known as insulin that is helping in regulating the blood sugars. So if there is no that high fiber diet in your food, it means that this particular insulin might in turn become what? Resistant. And if it's resistant, hormones like estrogen will not be produced.
Okay.
And you find that a woman, instead of producing this estrogen, is starting now to produce male hormones, like the androgens. And these particular androgens now, they're the ones that bring about having disorders like PCOS.
Yes.
Yes. So in that case, we need this fiber to enhance what? The functionality Insulin. Yes, because if someone has, like you are consuming foods that are not having this fiber, you're going to produce a lot of that insulin. And eventually it becomes what? Resistant. Besides having that PCOS, in turn we are going to start managing diabetes. And that one is not what? It's not something that you want. Besides that, besides having the fiber, we also need the antioxidants.
Yeah, so when you talk about fiber, can we break down what type of foods those are?
That provide
examples, yes, that provide good fiber.
Yes, when you talk about fiber, this is something that you can get from complex carbohydrates. And fiber is not regarded as a nutrient, but it's helping in our digestion and balancing the sugars and everything. So complex carbohydrates, I mean those particular carbohydrates that you can eat with the skin.
Yes, so which type of foods?
For example, let's talk about the sweet potatoes. If you remove the skin from the sweet potatoes, you're not going to get the fiber. So sweet potatoes eat with the skin.
Interesting.
Yes, when you look at, let's say, ugali, which is the basic thing that we eat. Ugali, we have the one that is processed, and we have the one that we go and osiaga. That is that. So we refer to use the osiaga because that one has what? Fiber. Apart from that, which is now the whole grains, we also get the fiber from fruits and vegetables. So fruits and vegetables give us a lot of fiber, especially those fruits that we eat with the skin. The skin contains the roughages, the fiber that we are talking about. Yes, so the whole grains, the fruits and vegetables, they give us what? The fiber. Yes.
Okay, all right. So we need to incorporate more fiber into our diet. So we're talking of, ideally, you've mentioned about, vegetables and fruit. So when it comes to like portioning our plates, so it means a bit of carbohydrates, some proteins, and then more vegetables.
Yes, more of the vegetables. That's very true. And when you're taking these carbohydrates, focus on those ones that are whole grain. And then more of what? More of the vegetables. And in regards to that, when you take fiber, it's not like going to add weight or do anything. Fiber is something that enters into your mouth and is going to be removed at the end of the day. We do not have enzymes to digest the fiber. So if you eat a plate like a 12-inch plate, half of it to be vegetables, that's exactly what we recommend.
Okay, yes. And what type of vegetables are rich in fiber?
Practically all the vegetables, but especially those ones that are dark green vegetables, za kienyeji. And when you're cooking them, if you want that particular fiber, do not overcook.
Okay.
Yeah, you just maybe for 3 minutes without turning the color to brownish, you'll get that fiber.
So that's like for spinach, because kienyeji lazima to boil.
Yeah.
For kienyeji burgers, definitely that only have to.
But do not like overboil. Yeah, and overcook it.
Oh, because otherwise it loses the.
Yeah, that fiber we are going to break it down kabisa. Yes.
Okay. The other question I was gonna ask is, just that place where we link, stress and, nutrition.
Yes.
When it comes to reproductive health.
Right. So stress and nutrition also plays a key role. When someone is stressed, we have the adrenal glands that are present at the kidneys, just on top of the kidneys. So these adrenal glands, when you have stress, they produce some specific hormones. For example, they produce what? Cortisol. And this particular cortisol
is a stress hormone.
Is a stress hormone. It's produced as a response to stress. So the cortisol here, when it's overproduced, it can lower your metabolism.
Okay.
It can lower the production of the thyroid hormones.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, you as a person, you're going to experience hypothyroidism.
Okay.
And when you're having hypothyroidism, it means that you cannot be able to metabolize the foods very well. And that one, at the end of the day, you find that some people are gaining weight. And they do not know where it is coming from. That's unexplained weight gain. It can be a suggestion that you're having a hormonal imbalance. Yes. Apart from that, when you're stressed, you're also producing another hormone, which is known as adrenaline, the flight and fight hormone. Yes, so this particular fight and flight hormone, whenever it's produced, you find that your heart is even racing. Heartbeat, it increases. What at the end of the day we expect? You're going to have maybe cardiac arrhythmias. And that one basically it means that your heart is not going to function properly. Yes. And we have also discussed about the metabolism, which is so far linked to nutrition, whereby now those particular hormones are not what? Produced.
They're not being produced.
Yes.
Okay. And are there specific foods that can worsen hormonal imbalance?
Yes. For example, I've talked about fiber. If you take foods that are low in fiber, basically we are talking about the refined carbohydrates. You are taking
my chips.
Yes, chips every day. Kamasi chips, spaghetti, indomie, mchele, name them. Even the ugali that we buy from the supermarkets. So if you are consistently taking those foods, we call them high glycemic index foods. So if you're consistently taking them, your pancreas is consistently producing insulin. And eventually you can become insulin resistant. And there is a link between this insulin resistance and reproductive health.
Yeah.
In turn, it's going to lower production of estrogen, progesterone. So that's the first type of food that we say.
And when that happens, now you start seeing some of these conditions being developed. Because a lot of times, most of these conditions have also been linked to, there's a connection between insulin and most of these diseases. So
Exactly.
PCOS, all these different conditions, even fibroids, all of them are linked to insulin and insulin resistance to some extent.
Exactly. So if you're taking the refined carbohydrates, we're not using the word avoid. That's not a word in the dictionary of a nutritionist. So we say you limit. Yes, cut on those refined carbohydrates and the sugary foods. Because of the insulin. Apart from that, we also have caffeine. Caffeine is linked to higher production of cortisol. I'm very sure I've explained how cortisol affects what? Metabolism. So we need to cut on caffeine. So another thing, we also have the processed foods. The processed foods that contain additives, they contain preservatives. So at the end of the day, those preservatives and additives, they are going to do what? To affect the hormone production. And finally, on the same things to do with alcohol. Alcohol, we need to do it in moderation. If you drink alcohol, just do it not moderation. Yes.
Okay, all right. So what are some of the tips that women can embrace or take on in order to ensure that they balance their hormones?
Okay, so first of all, things to do with hydration. Hydration is also very important, taking water. And you'll just know when your body needs the water. Especially, for example, when you go to the washroom and then during urination, the color of your urine, it's somehow darkish. It is like a strong tea. It means that the body is telling you need to do what? Drink more water. That's number one, hydration. Number two, you need to have to make sure that you maintain a healthy lifestyle by just using what? Diet. Consume the complex carbohydrates, high fiber. Consume antioxidants, which are present in fruits and vegetables that help in reducing oxidative stress. You also have to consume the lean proteins. Lean proteins here, I am referring to the legumes, the lentils, like the plant proteins, and I'm also referring to animal products whereby we are removing what? The fats from those animal products. If it's meat, remove what? The fats. If it's a chicken, remove the skin, because that's where the fat is. Because a lot of fats also contribute to weight gain, eventually affects what? Your hormone balance. We are also referring to vitamin C. which is also present in fruits and vegetables that can help in stabilizing your health and everything. So, tip number 3, manage your stress. You have seen the link between stress and what? And hormone imbalance. So manage your stress, whatever it takes. Even if it's some meditation, yoga, doing what you love, just do it. And of course, health, we have talked about the diet, we've talked about managing your stress, as well as hydration. Other things like smoking, alcohol consumption, do it in moderation. Like not too much, in moderation. And through that, eventually, we can be able to understand how we can regulate our hormone production.
Okay, all right. And before we conclude on this conversation, I wanted to ask, are there any particular supplements that women can take in order to help regulate their hormones? And besides just supplement, can you also talk about the different teas, like green tea and all these other that are not really food per se? Is there a way that they can help in balancing a woman's hormone?
Yes, those are the green teas and everything. We call them the functional foods. Those functional foods, they help in enhancing health.
Okay.
So green tea being part of it, we also have things to do with the turmeric. Turmeric, ginger, garlic. Incorporate them in your diet every day. Because those particular, let's say they are spices, the natural ones that you can get from the market, these ones, they can help in reducing inflammation and in turn helping in what? Hormonal balance. In terms of supplements, supplements are only recommended if someone is having a deficiency. Let's say you're having a deficiency of iodine. This iodine, which also enhances production of hormones, like enhancing the functionality of the thyroid gland, you can get it from the diet. So before you go and get the supplement maybe from the counter, try and get these particular nutrients from where? From the food that we eat every day. And then if the deficiency is very severe, that's when a nutritionist or any other medical practitioner recommends what? A supplement. Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Maura. I mean, that was a great way to unpack how nutrition is linked to hormonal imbalance and just how we as women, we can be intentional, in how we prepare our meals and the type of foods that we eat, so that at the end of the day, we ensure that some of these hormonal changes are not as a result of nutrition, which plays a very key role in balancing hormones. But thank you so much. Well, guys, that's it for today's episode. I do hope that you've gained something from this conversation in regards to how you can naturally balance your hormones by incorporating the right nutrition in your meals. Once again, I really do hope that you've been enjoying this series on reproductive health. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, you can leave it in the chat comment section, or maybe if you have an addition from today's conversation, maybe what has been working for you, would you leave that on the chat comment section? We'd love to read your comments. That's it. I do hope that you've subscribed to this channel. If you haven't, please go ahead and do that. And remember to share this episode with everyone around you, all the women around you, your girlfriends, your sisters. Share this episode with them so that we can take charge of our bodies as women. That's it for today's conversation. Until next time, it's a goodbye.
And I'm not in pain. I'm just shivering, shaking, and it's not cold. It's hot. So one of my colleagues tells me, I just go home. Maybe you need to rest. I go to my HOD and I'm like, Mr. Pastor, I look at my hands, look at my body. I am in a zone. I need to go home. So he says, I won't allow you to go alone. Let me send someone to drop you off. So in the process of them dropping me, I call my husband and I'm like, hey, I'm in a fit. I'm just shaking. I don't understand why. I'm looking funny, like I'm just shaking. Everything about me is shaking, and so and so is dropping me home. We didn't live far from church, so he tells me, no, don't go home.
Go to the
Don't go home and sleep. You might sleep and not wake up. Turn, ask. Let me talk to him. So he tells him, turn the car, take her to Warwick, because we're nearby. And then when you get there,
So that's the nearest hospital.
yes, Nairobi Hospital, Warwick. And when you get there, call me, and then let me talk to the doctor.